Great. So, hello everyone. It's super great to be here today. My name is Tanja Holm, and I will be giving you a short keynote today. And I just want to start with saying, I know you are all in the middle of something big. You are piloting something new, a sustainable product or a service in a world that doesn't really make it easy. And I want to start my keynote with saying, you are doing something that really matters. So keep on doing, even if it feels like you get obstacles thrown at you. Keep on going because what you and I and this entire group is working on is really something that is meaningful, and we should be resilient. And this world that we live in is sometimes not built for that. So, a little bit of my personal connection to this topic. Personally, I care a lot about this topic. In my free time, I'm a huge advocate of slow fashion, about repairing, reusing, and consuming less. And there is actually a quote that I love, which is that this planet already has the clothes that we need to dress 6 generations. And we don't need to go into the accuracy of this quote or not, but this really puts it into perspective, and this is also where I'm personally coming from, is that there is such a overconsumption mindset on our planet and in our world that we really need to start thinking about how we consume, how we produce, and reusing and repurposing the things that we already have is such importance. So I haven't run a circularity pilot myself, but I work every day with sustainability-driven innovation. And today I will share with you what I have learned through kind of messy, honest trial and errors. So that's what we will be talking about today. I myself run a business, an education business. I teach environmental life cycle assessment. And through that work, I see a lot of examples of in this space. And I'm going to be sharing a few examples from my own work of building an idea, as well as a few examples from our customers. Let's start with this. Piloting is not a phase. Piloting is a mindset. And oftentimes piloting reminds me a lot about this meme. It is burning all around you and you are scared, but you somehow convince yourself that it is all fine. It will, it will be okay, and you will just continue with your day. And for the past 3 years, I feel like myself, I have been living in a pilot mode. Every time that I have figured out something, like I have had a problem and I have figured it out, then I am on to the next part. I am on to the next thing to fix and test. There has never been a situation where, oh, now it's smooth sailing, but there is always the next fire that needs to be put down. And somehow you learn to live in the fire and you feel chaotic, and it can feel overwhelming in the beginning. And in my case, first it was our product, then it was our process, then it has been our sales strategy, and then it has been our customer support model. So the object keeps on moving. And what I really had to learn from this is that I had to be okay with discomfort, and with discomfort of feeling like I am okay with things being half finished. Everything can't be perfect. Everything can't be 100% done. And it's okay to put something out there that isn't perfect. And like the core truth of this is that you can't skip the messy middle. You can't skip the phase where everything feels like it's burning around you. And the best advice I can give you is just to go step by step. Just take one fire at a time and prioritize, and also let it be unfinished. Learn in public, and perfection means nothing. Done is better than perfect. Let me tell you next a story I wish I didn't have to tell. When we launched our online course called Leaders LCA, it was an introduction to life cycle assessment course. We had already done some market research. We had people who said they were interested. So like we thought we had done enough background research on, will people be interested in this topic? Yes or not? And we thought we had it all figured out. So we went ahead, we used the time to build the course. It was quite a big job. It probably took, I would say, 2 months of our time, and it distracted us fully from everything else. And that was just the building phase. And after we built the course, there was crickets. Nobody wanted to buy it. And the biggest mistake, in my opinion, now looking back, is we actually built the course before we really had a business case. We just imagined also that it would sell itself. But what we realized is that we should have done way more on the marketing side of things, on the sales side of things. We thought that just creating the product was enough, but that wasn't the case. So if I would do it again, I actually have been thinking about how would I do it again. And this is actually the formula that I will be now using for every launch, every new product, every new idea that requires more effort for me to put out in the world. This is what I would do. So this is what I would do instead. First, I would create a simple brochure or PDF that I can share to people. And I would just explain the idea on a few slides, detailed enough, but still top level enough so that you can change it later. It's not too different from you have room to do some tweaks on it later. Then after that, I would test this idea with a landing page and have people give their email address to download that PDF. I would create a very simple web page. I would say, hey, this is, I would do a sales page in a way, but I would keep it very simple, very minimal, and see, do people want to buy this from me? And they would give me their email address and their phone number. And in return, they get the PDF. And the PDF, of course, has to have some kind of value to them. It has to have value to your target audience, to your target group. So you can't just do it as a technical, technical product explanation. It has to have something valuable for the customer, so that you can gauge if your target audience is actually interested in this idea or not. Then I would run small ads, not put a lot of money on there, but I would run small ads and also do some organic social media testing of which message brings most people to that landing page that we just created. So essentially test which type of messaging gets traction. If I see in this test that a specific messaging works better than the other, then I might even go back to the landing page and edit the text a little bit and see if I get even more downloads. I would then collect emails through this page. I would look for patterns. Are these people actually in my target group? Is there anything else that they all have in common? And then I would actually call the most promising ones. I would call them and ask, would you buy this? How much would you pay? And ask them any other questions that I'm unsure about that I want to learn before building the product. And then the final thing is I would secure a few customers. Customers that would say, sign a paper and say, yes, I will buy this, even if you haven't built it yet. And these are the steps that I would use if I would relaunch our online course. I would do much more preparation ahead. So test first, build later. And in this case, we tested the business case first. Is there an interest for it in the market? Do you know who your target audience is? Do you know what messages really work on them? So you are testing that before you build the final product that you put a lot of effort into. But you can use this into any different thing. Any project that you are launching, you can use this method. Because guessing means nothing if you haven't tested the idea. Your guess means nothing. It's as good as my guess. Maybe your guess is more educated guess, but your guess means nothing if you haven't data behind it. If you don't have a paying customer, it's not worth anything. So piloting isn't just about building something new and hoping that it works. It's about breaking the idea into smaller parts and testing each separately. You test the pricing, you test the positioning, you test the message, you test the customer interest. And there is always a way to test. And let's see, I think I had actually a slide on that. So there is always a way to test everything. Instead of guessing, they probably want this. Ask 5 of your users. Is the price right? Run a price test. Track clicks on messaging to know if the messaging is working. So what I want to say is that you don't need a perfect prototype. You need the courage to put something out there and listen what comes back. Let's move on to the next example. And if you have any questions, please put them in the comments, and I'll answer them. So one of the best things that I've actually built is our hands-on LCA program. And this here is Gregory Norris. He is our LCA professor. But the truth was that the course, the program that we built with him, our hands-on LCA program, it didn't start great. The first version was delivered live by him. On paper, that was, of course, fantastic. We got a lot of feedback from it. And our students had access to one of the world's leading experts. He's one of the leading experts in LCA. We knew when we started that test that wasn't scalable, but that wasn't the point. We wanted to do it live, meaning he did all the parts, all the components of the training himself to learn. We wanted to learn as much as we could from our customers, and the best way for us to do that was not to build something straight away that would be scalable, but to do it a little bit, low tech, and see what comes back. So our students actually told us that they wanted more concise content. They wanted shorter formats. They wanted ability to go back and review materials. So we actually turned the lectures that Greg had done into videos. That meant that our program was immediately more accessible, scalable, and more cost effective. And with every cohort that we have worked with, we have been now doing this for 3 years. So we have had, I haven't even calculated, 7, 10 cohorts, something like that. Every time we have asked feedback. We have a feedback form at 2 different stages of our 2.5-month program. So we ask questions, we ask feedback at every stage. We have tweaked exercises. We have adjusted how we support our students. We have introduced feedback checkpoints after the theory portion and again after the project portion. And there is actually one pivotal moment in one of these cohorts that where one customer gave us a really poor review after the program ended. The intern that we had matched them with had disappeared, and she had failed to deliver what she had promised. To us, that same person had said everything was good. She didn't tell us anything that would be a problem. And the customer also didn't tell us that there was a problem until the final review that we have with them. This was a pivotal moment for us. We realized that we needed to add better visibility for ourselves for mid-program. And honestly, yeah, they were right. After this case, we had a lot of repair work to do. We worked really hard to get the customer to be happy. But that also taught us a really, really important lesson that we need to stay closer to the students and the program. And that's why we introduced a kickoff and a mid-project check-in, as well as the feedback session at the end. Another setback was about 1.5 years in. Our professor, Greg, that you saw earlier, he told that he had to cut back on his hours. At that time, he wasn't giving lectures anymore, but he was still leading our weekly support session, and we panicked. What could we do without him? And this was a wake-up call. And we realized that we couldn't rely on just one person. So we brought in another teacher, and we shifted the professor into an advisory role and the quality control role. And today we have 2 teachers supporting our students, and we have a more resilient system. But every step of the way taught us something new. And even now, every cohort, we get something that we will change. And in this phase, the most important thing was just to stay calm, carry on, not panic, and just move forward with what we were doing and try to solve that specific problem. So what I wanted to say with these examples is that no service or product ever stays static. They always evolve. And your pilot isn't just a prototype, it's the beginning of a long-term relationship with your idea. And finally, I want to share something that made a huge difference for us in this process. It is that we quite early on established clear KPIs, key performance indicators, something to measure. We decided early on that we didn't want any bad customer reviews. So we tracked our NPS or Net Promoter Score very closely. We worked really hard on keeping it at 9 or 10, which are the positive reviews. And this gave us a really clear line of like when or if satisfaction dropped, we knew something wasn't working. And having this kind of success metric in place really helped us respond fast and improve quickly and stay focused. Because how do you actually know if your pilot has succeeded if you haven't defined what success means? So I would like to challenge all of you and drop down in the comments if you feel courageous enough to write what's your success metric for your current pilot. It doesn't have to be for the whole pilot, it can be for a small part of it. But what are the success metrics of your pilot? How do you know the pilot has been successful? Drop it down in the comments. I would be curious to hear what you guys are working on or how you are measuring what you're working. Yes. Can I see somewhere how much time I've used? I'm just wondering if I'm on time or not.
I think you have still about 10 minutes left because
Perfect.
yeah.
That's perfect timing. Okay, excellent. So let's jump into a few customer examples. And I just want to show how life cycle assessment can be used in different circularity examples. So this was an LCA that one of our students did. They worked for a consultancy, but the consultancy worked for a customer. Maybe you've heard of Electrolux. And this student of ours, they were exploring a business model that was built in circularity. So she was looking at kitchen appliances as a product as a service. So she wanted to compare this product as a service business model of kitchen appliances to the traditional model of ownership. Because when a product is offered as a service, the producer has much stronger incentive to keep it in use longer and invest in repair. And of course, the assumption here is that a longer lifespan will equal a lower environmental impact, but they didn't have any data on it. They didn't actually know if this was true. So this is an LCA that she did to explore if this actually was more environmentally friendly or not. Another example from one of our customers is a textile consultant that did a project for one of her customers. She actually wanted to gather data again to understand different fibers for a football jersey. And she knew that for her to start looking at reusing some of those fibers, she needed to know the starting point first. So she took the same exact football jersey and looked at 3 different fiber combinations and did an LCA of each and every one to see which fiber option is what are their environmental impact. And that data then can be used to, that can be used for decision making. And both of these studies, they weren't perfect, but they were powerful. Because they both gave people a way to talk about sustainability in real terms, with real data, not just good vibes. So pilots don't have to be flawless, but they have to be intentional. And one tool that often is recommended when trying to understand that, is my idea, environmentally friendly or not, is actually life cycle assessment. Even a simplified LCA will give you a fact-based way to frame the environmental impact of your idea. And it's a way for you to validate whether your concept is actually more sustainable than the other idea, than the alternative. Because if there is just one thing that you remember from today, I want it to be that circular doesn't automatically mean sustainable. You need to actually test if your idea is better than the alternative. Because if you haven't tested that, if you don't have the numbers in the on your side, then the whole thing is defeating the purpose. You're trying to do something good, but if you don't know that that thing that you're doing is actually the better alternative, it defeats the point. So this is the one thing, if you only remember one thing from today, this is it. But with LCA, you can validate your idea. Because sustainability is and should be your competitive advantage. Yes. So to close today up, I want to say, if you are piloting something sustainable right now, let's give ourselves a round of applause. Because you are doing something that really matters. You don't have to have it all figured out, but you do need to keep on going. And I made a short list of things that I think makes it a little bit easier. For me, these help me keep on going. I celebrate all the small wins. I talk to real people all the time who can help me forward, who can help me understand my idea better. I have to let go of things. I have to let things be half done. I have to let things be messy. And then finally, find your people. Find your network, find a co-working space, or find a group online that shares your values and can cheer you on. So let's summarize today's points from today. And these are the key takeaways I want you to get from today. Done is better than perfect. Test everything. There is a test for everything. And don't think about the test as something super big and huge and complicated. Divide it into small chunks and test every chunk individually. Another one is fail fast. I didn't touch upon this too much in the text actually, but I really wanted to. When you are testing things, if something is not working, ditch it. It's better to ditch it early than to use 1 or 2 years doing something and then realizing that it's not working. I did that. That was one of my mistakes. But this is something that I have learned. Fail fast. Ditch a bad idea as soon as you realize it's a bad idea. Define success. Do you have the metrics? I will check the metrics in the chat soon. Validate your idea. Have numbers on your side. Make sure that your idea is actually the sustainable option and validate it with an LCA or something else. And finally, you got this. Thank you so much for your time here today. And if you want to learn more about LCA training or you want to learn how to use LCA to validating your idea, I'm happy to talk. This code here is my LinkedIn, so send me a connection request and send me a message when you are connecting with me that you came from here so that we can start chatting. That was it. Thank you so much for your time today.
Thank you very much, Tanja.